I'll be honest, I might look silly now saying this, but I actually wanted Ancelotti. But as it became clear that Klopp was the standout favourite and almost certainly going to get the job, I was massively excited about that as well. Jürgen Klopp arrived in October 2015 at a club really that was in serious danger of sliding backwards. He had a big press conference at Anfield. One of the journalists said to him, Jose Mourinho just calls himself the special one. How would you describe yourself?
I'm the normal one, maybe, if you want this.
It was the apt phrase to use because that's kind of what he was and what he always has been and what he has continued to be at Liverpool. When Jürgen Klopp arrived, he took over a real hodgepodge of a team. He had some just outright poor footballers, essentially. In the league, they were incredibly inconsistent. In Europe, Klopp did phenomenally well. Got to Europa League final. They were playing a very good Sevilla team managed by Unai Emery, and they took the lead in that game. Daniel Sturridge scored a brilliant goal to give them a half-time 1-0 lead. And then, sadly, they threw it away second half. They were pretty awful defensively, as they had been under Klopp. They were very bad for that first season, arguably 2 seasons under Klopp defensively. Overall, the fans came away from it very optimistic about what was to come.
The boys showed what they are capable of, but then to have this consistent in the game, you need a little bit more. Someday, everybody will say Basel was a very decisive moment for the wonderful future of Liverpool FC.
Jürgen Klopp has been a phenomenal developer of players. I mean, Jordan Henderson signed for the club in 2011, so he'd been there 4 years already before Jürgen Klopp arrived, signed by Kenny Dalglish. And this season in particular, he has been absolutely phenomenal. Probably no one else in that team runs harder than he does, makes more tackles than he does, makes more passes than he does. He really is the glue that stitches that team together. And Trent Alexander is a young player who Klopp gave his debut to. Some people describe him once as a playmaker from right back. He is supremely gifted technically. But again, that's come because Klopp showed faith in him and has nurtured him and has developed him and has shown confidence in him. One of his key signings has been Sadio Mane. He was the perfect player for the way he wanted to play. Aggressive, skillful, quick, powerful. I mean, just a supreme athlete as well as being technically gifted as well. And then what Klopp ultimately wanted was a similar player on the other side, which he eventually got the following summer, the summer of 2017, when he signed Mohamed Salah. So that front three then took shape, and that's been crucial to Klopp's success, the power and the skill and the cohesion of that front three. Midfield has also been an absolutely huge, important area for Klopp. Arguably his best signing in that area has been Gini Wijnaldum. Like Mane, like Salah, like everyone, I guess, in his Liverpool team, an athlete. And then the other crucial aspect to his team were the fullbacks. He wants fullbacks that, again, high energy, great crossing ability. He had Trent on one side, and then in the summer of 2017, finally solved the Moreno problem and got Andrew Robertson, which is arguably the bargain of the century, really, £8 million from Hull. And then his two real big standout signings have been Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker.
This is just what Klopp needs at the heart of that defence.
And Van Dijk has just been absolutely extraordinary, without a doubt, the best centre-back in the world.
Liverpool have completed this transfer for Alisson. It is a record-breaking deal.
They've spent a lot of money on him, over £70 million on him as well. Now, and all those issues that were there when he took over have essentially all been solved. So arguably the lowest moment of Jürgen Klopp's time as Liverpool manager, but also what proved to be a big turning point, was the 2018 Champions League final when Liverpool lost 3-1 to Real Madrid in Kyiv. And sadly, it fell apart almost from the first minute. Mohamed Salah, who'd been, without that, Liverpool's player of the season, got a really bad shoulder injury early on after being really callously and cynically fouled by Sergio Ramos. He then had to go off the pitch, but ultimately were undone by a combination of Real Madrid's class, seen in Gareth Bale's extraordinary goal, arguably the best goal that's ever been scored in the Champions League final. But either side of that, two horrific mistakes by Loris Karius, the goalkeeper.
We all feel really, really bad. We wanted everything and got nothing.
But I think for Klopp, I think it showed him that he had to really push on to get, in the transfer market, in terms of getting this team to get over the hill and finally win a trophy, having lost 2 finals under him. So the following season was a season of extreme highs and extreme disappointment in a way. Most clearly in the Premier League, 97 points they earned was only enough for them to finish second. They finished an agonising 1 point behind Manchester City. But the picture was obviously very different in Europe. In the Champions League, there was no heartbreak for Liverpool. Obviously, the game that everyone remembers is Barcelona at home in the second leg of the semi-final. They'd lost 3-0 away at the Nou Camp in the first leg. It looked an impossible job, and instead Liverpool produced, for me, the greatest performance and result in Champions League history. 12 months on from losing to Real Madrid in the final. They beat Tottenham Hotspurs in the final. This one held in Madrid. It felt like destiny. And that's what happened. And Liverpool got their hands on a 6th European Cup, the first trophy of the Jürgen Klopp reign, and a real kind of stamp on his time at the club, real kind of tangible proof that what he had done was working.
This group, I said it, this is only the start for this group.
Ultimately, this season for Liverpool has been a case of history delayed, but not history denied. They fully deserve to have won this Premier League title, the 19th in their history, the first in 30 years. It has come at the end of what has been the craziest, weirdest, most surreal and probably most memorable Premier League season in history, given what happened in March.
It became worried in the moment when people started talking about nil and void the season, because it was like, wow.
And further proof that the job he's done at the club has been an absolutely remarkable and phenomenal one as he edges towards his five-year anniversary as manager. What is without doubt is, despite everything that's happened this year, Liverpool fully deserve to be champions, and they have finally got their hands on the trophy.